Thank you very much for this introduction. Yes, let me share the screen with the presentation. You can see it now? Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, perfect. Well, to introduce me fast, I am Alejandra Vélez, biomedical engineer working in the health emergency program together with Gabriela Jimenez and other members of the team. We have developed some, and Adriana, we have developed some guidance that I will, what I want to share you in this presentation. So some of the publications related to the case management that you have been following during the seminars are the priority list of medical devices, are the technical specifications for invasive and non-invasive ventilators, the technical specifications for oxygen delivery and monitoring devices, the inventory survey tool that can also help you to assess the healthcare facility readiness for this kind of equipment. The oxygen sources is an interim guidance that I will show some details of it. And we are now developing training guidance for the 5 types of ventilators. This is a project in progress. You can find all this information in the links that are here. More or less, it looks like this when you click on them. It's important to scroll down a bit to find the information because it has been developed so much guidance that sometimes it's difficult to go through them. We also have in the website the emergency supply catalog. This is a tool for the countries to go directly to the products that can be procured or that WHO is supporting through the ministries of health to procure. Once you go through this catalog, you can find 5 different types of ventilator, as you can see in the screen. Also, some are the non-invasive ventilation like the BiPAP, CPAP, and the high-flow nasal cannula that has been discussed in previous seminars. And you have also the ventilators, the intensive care one, and the transport or mass casualty ventilator. For all of these ventilators, we develop technical specifications as well as for the, as I mentioned before, for the oxygen therapy and monitoring devices that needs to be taken into account as a whole package when we procure equipment. This is one of the screenshots of the guidance of oxygen delivery devices, just to let you know that it includes also some clinical advice on how to use or how to combine the devices once you select them. Also, before going deeper to the ventilation, I wanted to mention this publication because this is basically a main component before procuring or assessing the ventilators. We need to know which kind of source of oxygen we have in our health facility. So for the time being, we have compiled this publication that is based on a previous work done with WHO and UNICEF. And together with this, we have developed also the technical specifications for the PSA plants, so that are also publicly available. Then going through the specific process of the ventilators. The first thing, as you know, it was to develop the priority list of medical devices that will be used for case management. This list includes everything in the ICU and for the severe and critical patients. As you can see in the screen, there are some comments regarding how to select one or other equipment, because it doesn't mean that you need all for the same things. You need to assess your infrastructure, your clinical staff, etc., to take a decision. We also, in this list, we are also recommending, according to the level of care, what is minimum to be procured. After developing this priority list, we went through the compilation of the technical specifications. It was a process where we include international experts to discuss what were the minimum requirements specifically for COVID. including the ventilation modes that were really appropriate for this purpose. As I said, this kind of publication includes part of the guidance, like for example, we need a source of air and oxygen with certain pressure. We need to consider some air compressors or blenders with the specific characteristics. And if I go to more details, we are putting the general requirements for the equipment, including all the ingress protection and the ventilation modes, the parameters that need to be controlled and monitored by the user. And we have a section where we include an approximation of the approximate quantities of consumables and accessories that needs to be delivered in the first procurement. Considering that this process of procurement takes time and that we won't be able to, the shortage of supply that is globally happening, and we won't be able to do the refurbishment soon, we are pushing to have this from the first delivery. As I said, quantities are approximate, so of course you can play a bit of need when you are doing your own procurement. We suggest to include a disaggregated list of them and to indicate if they are brand or generic. So you can also have from the first, from the beginning, the calculation of costs that it will have, the life cost of the equipment. Also, it's very important to include a comment on the language of how the product comes, the documents that are together with the equipment, but also how they are giving you the interface. So for the time being, we are including minimum the English language, but of course this is something that is preferable to be another language, local language, of course. And what else? We also emphasize in the use of a reliable and continuous source of energy, because we know this can damage the equipment. Finally, in terms of the quality assurance, we are including some, here I just put some of the main things that we need to take into account. One is the packaging, the labeling, the information of the manufacturer, the distributor, or the authorized service people that will be on ground. Also, we are requesting some standards. We know this also has been changed and adapted a lot during the emergency, because equipment comes from different certification bodies or regulatory bodies. So there is no linear equivalence of the standards, but once we know what it's included in the standards and what parameters we want to, or results we want to get from this test, we can request to the manufacturer, including the assessment of a regulatory body that gives a certification of exportation or free sale certificate previous the commercialization in the world. Then with regards to the guarantee, we are requesting the equipment to be at least with 2 years life, 2 to 5 years lifespan. So meaning that the software, the availability of accessories, consumables, and spare parts will be guaranteed for this period, so that we can be sure that the equipment will be running for at least that period of time. This that I show in the screens, it was related to the ICU ventilators. However, we have the transport and the mass casualty ventilators in our specifications, because we know the shortage of supply and all these problems. So we are including, but we are not saying that they will supply, or we need to take some considerations for long-term patients in ICU. So to more or less to summarize also other aspects that we continuously mention about the holistic assessment of technology. We know that for this kind of equipment and for many equipment, we need to take into account the installation requirements like power supply, medical gases, that includes the inlet pressure, the regulators, the connectors. I just put a screenshot of different kind of regulators and fluometers that need to be used according to the low or high inlet of oxygen and air. Also, we always need to know that in place we will have staff, clinicians, nurses, clinical engineers, and technicians to run the equipment. And procuring one of these equipment is also subject to the availability of other devices like the intubation or airway management devices. Also, if we are considering to buy breathing circuits that are reusable, we will need to talk about sterilization and other decontamination process. Finally, we wanted to mention that we are aware of all these fever of manufacturing and creating and solving the problem on innovations. So we are assessing this situation with two perspectives in WHO. One is about the emergency use authorizations that has been provided by some regulatory agencies like the FDA or UK. And we are evaluating case by case and comparing if they comply with the specs. But we know that these products maybe need to be reassessed by the regulatory bodies after a period of time. And on the other hand, we have other innovations that for the time being, the way to assess them is through the website that the information goes, the innovator needs to fill a survey tool, an assessment tool of the stage of the innovation. They submit it and we kind of provide feedback of what is the way forward for them before these devices are commercialized. But we are not procuring these devices as WHO. Finally, just a reminder that there is this inventory tool for COVID that it also can help as a guidance for readiness for your health facilities. So please fill it. Here you will see some questions about the availability of power requirements and the inlet oxygen and air inlet pressure, etc. And that's all from my side. I think we continue with the presentations and then questions maybe at the end. Thank you.
Thank you, Alejandra. You finished exactly on time. Thank you for keeping the presentation within the time. And I would like to welcome our co-chair, Jennifer, joining us in the webinar. And before I hand over to her, I would like to remind all participants to prepare their questions and use the Q&A to share their questions with us, and we will take care of that in our last session. The second issue, I would like also to alert everybody that ventilators are used in an oxygen-enriched environment, and most of the time in many countries we use compressors for the compressed air, and that is a source of danger in case if we may ignite a fire. We had an incident a few days ago somewhere, and that is not the only incident, but we also had an incident in 1993 in the USA where a ventilator was involved in a fire. So please take note of the requirements for fire and look at the standards published by the National Fire Authority that will guide you how to protect your environment from fire. And with that, I would like to introduce our co-chair, Jennifer. Please, over to you, Jennifer.